Hey there, and welcome to Freedom Friday, where I interview successful entrepreneurs and learn how they went from a 9-to-5 job to creating a business and life they love. And I have a really amazing guest with me today. Her name is Vandita Joshi. I am so excited to bring her to you guys and have her share her story. She is such an inspiration. I think you're really going to love hearing from her. So Vandita is a mom of two and a serial entrepreneur. And about 10 years ago, when she finished grad school, she jumped into the typical corporate life. She worked with several big investment banks, but then realized that she wasn't cut out for the corporate world. So in 2015, she quit her job and launched her first startup business. And that business failed within 6 months of launching, but it didn't stop her. That's where her story gets really interesting. Then she took those lessons from that failed business and then launched her next company. In 2016, she invested some of her savings, operated it out of her garage, and she was able to scale it really quickly into what is now bringing in an average of $2,000 a day, which is about $60,000 a month. And now she has started her third venture, Snuggle Bees. It's a baby swaddle that she designed herself. It's US patent pending, and she's running that business while her second company is running on autopilot. So I am so excited to bring her to you guys. And Vandita, welcome to Freedom Friday.
Hey, thank you so much. It's a pleasure for me to be here.
Awesome. So before we kind of jump into your corporate story of how you quit the corporate job to start your businesses, can you tell us a little bit about your current company right now or your latest venture?
Sure. So Snuggle Bees is actually, the idea for Snuggle Bees came from my own problems as a mom. Like when my first daughter was born, as moms, we go through a lot of sleepless nights, and you're always worried about the safety of your child, right? So there's so many things that you go through, and I did face some postpartum depression myself in my first pregnancy. And nursing, nursing is a big problem. You're trying to nurse in the middle of the night, and you're almost, in a stage where you sleepy yourself, diaper changing in the night. So all these problems, I try to fix these problems using a swaddle. Snuggle Bees is a baby swaddle that I've designed myself, and it has safety wings on the side. Right. So as a mom, you're always worried about the safety of your child, because when your child roll over, if you know about like sudden infant death syndrome, like I've always been concerned about that. So what I did was, on a basic swaddle with a chain on it, I put 2 safety wings on the side. Right. So when your kid is trying to roll over, and there's Velcro on the wings that attach on the base. So that way your kid is not able to roll over.
Wow, that's really amazing. I wish I would have had that when my kids were babies. So that was something I was always panicked about. That is very cool. So I feel like that's a long kind of journey from being in corporate banking to designing this safety baby swaddle. So can you tell us a little bit about kind of that beginning part of your corporate career and what it was about your corporate job that you kind of knew, like, this is not for me?
Sure. So about 10 years ago, I finished my degree in computer science, right? And after that, I've worked with several investment banks in New York City. So I was working as an application developer, and my most recent job was with JP Morgan Chase, and I used to build financial applications for them. And I've done it for 8 years until I quit my job and started my own business.
Wow, that's pretty awesome. So were you working on your first business while you were still in the corporate job?
So yeah, I mean, partially, yes. It was like a 3-month span when I was working and trying to build some groundwork on my business. But to be honest with you, like, quitting my job was a big deal for me, as for a lot of people, right? Because I've always been financially independent. And the whole thought that I won't be paid for a few months until I break even, or eventually until I start making some profit, it used to kill me. So, but at the same time, I used to love brainstorming different kind of ideas and ventures. And I knew that, if I had to start something of my own, eventually I have to do it full time. Right. So I decided that I will give 1 year of my life to follow my dreams. And for some reason, if it doesn't work out, I'll always go back to corporate. So I thought of investing that 1 year
Okay,
into
nice.
something that I wanted to do.
So what did you do to prepare? Like when you were thinking about quitting your job, I'm assuming you probably had some sort of safety net built up to give you that 1 year. Can you walk us through what preparations you took to get you to the point where you felt comfortable and safe quitting?
Sure. Yeah. So at this, between me and my husband, we thought that even my husband had a lot of interest in starting his own company. But now we have 2 kids. So, we decided that at least one person between us should have a stable income. So for us, it worked out because my husband was working full time, and we checked our finances. And I had a lot of savings because I'd worked for a long time in my corporate career. So, we tried to made an Excel sheet. We made a sheet where we tried to see if we can survive for 1 year without having a salary. And that was pretty much a game plan for us.
Nice. Nice. What did your family say? When you quit, were they, or
they were shocked.
They would say, yeah.
Surprised because none of our friends have tried to do something like we always talk about doing something like that, and after 8 years of corporate, there comes a time when you have the saturation and everybody's going through that phase in their life. They want to try something of their own. A lot of my friends went back to college for doing their MBA. But taking the step was a big thing for everyone. My family was pretty supportive. Like my husband was super supportive. My parents were super happy because my dad was a businessman. He's still a businessman. So I'm coming from a family of people who have done business. So
okay.
They were pretty happy about it.
Nice. So, in your bio, it had said that first venture failed within the first 6 months of launching. I'm sure that was filled with a lot of turmoil and fear and frustration and doubt. Can you kind of walk us through kind of what you went through those 6 months from quitting your job to not only dealing with this, like, oh my gosh, I quit my job, to, running your business, the excitement, and then the kind of the downturn of it?
Sure. So yeah, when I quit my job, and I was so excited to start my own business, and I was prepared for everything. I was prepared to launch my company. I was prepared to work day and night and slog for hours, and ready to face anything that might come my way. But there's this one thing that I wasn't prepared for: failure. And that's what happened. I launched this very unique, awesome idea that I totally believed in that idea. I built a website around it, a sales funnel, and I've worked very hard, and it slowly started to get some traction. But after months and months of hard work, one day I realized that this thing is not working. I guess the timing wasn't right, or there was not enough demand for that idea, and operations was a big challenge for me. So to scale that kind of business into a higher level, it was almost impossible for me to do that. So that's when I decided that I need to shut down that company. And I'd hit a complete rock bottom actually 3 years ago. I had quit that job. I'd quit my job for this particular idea, and that business had failed. And on top of it, at that very moment, I was also pregnant with my second child.
Oh, wow.
Right. So remember, my backup option was to go back to corporate, right?
Yeah.
Who would hire a pregnant woman?
Oh,
that's going to happen. So, and I was suffering from depression because, I've always been working. So I went through that identity crisis, and I had to do something about it. It was like an utmost necessity for me to do something to bring that confidence back to me that I'd lost after shutting down the company. Wow. So I started doing meditation. I got into this whole world of spirituality, and that's what changed things for me. And I made a game plan. So my number one goal was to start earning, anything like $5 a day, $10 a day, anything. But it was very important for me to start earning. So I started looking for different ways to make money. I did a lot of research online on passive income, building online businesses, and different ways to start earning. And that's what grew from there. Like I started my own online business. I did a lot of market research, and the e-commerce store, the second business that I own right now, is something that I had started to just, learn the basics, the art of selling, right? That's what it started from, but I guess it grew pretty big from there.
Wow. Okay, that is amazing. I feel like there's so many like great little nuggets of wisdom you threw out there. And it's kind of amazing that you picked yourself up and one step at a time, one thing at a time, and were able to just turn it into this massive business, which is pretty spectacular. So you mentioned meditation. Is there any specific form of meditation that you do, or any specific books or resources you would recommend to anyone?
Sure. So there's this, like I didn't know how to meditate before. So there's this app called Headspace that I totally recommend to anyone who, for starters, who doesn't know how to do it. It's pretty much like a guided way of meditation. So I still use it. It's really good.
Wow. All the research I've been doing on meditation, and everyone says like you take the time and you actually get more time, because people say like, oh, I don't have time to meditate. And a lot of people say, well, you actually get more time. And I feel like you might just be living proof of that. But
it's the best way to be productive, actually. And a lot of times, when you have so much work and you feel like you don't get even 5 minutes to, get out from your life. But probably half an hour of meditation would relax you in a way that you get more productive and you do things better.
Wow. So with your e-commerce business, is it a niche that you were already very familiar with, or did you do some research to kind of figure out like what would be a profitable niche to get into?
Right. So, that's what I did do a lot of market research. Okay. So, I've in my first business, I used to think that a business idea is very important. And I used to think that it's very important for us to come up with a very unique idea that no one has ever thought about. And, it's important. But what I've realized is probably idea is just a part of building a company. But it depends a whole lot on, getting a good balance of demand and competition. Right. So you have to check like what thing is actually working in the market, and based on that, and also you have to check like if there's enough competition, you don't want to get into something which is totally crowded. Right. So a good balance of demand and competition is what we should look for. And that's where market research plays a big role.
Wow. Okay. That's really good. Good advice. So I assume that you launched this e-commerce business. I have a feeling it probably didn't go from 0 to 60K a month overnight. It was probably a long process. Did you ever have moments through your second venture where, you just kind of felt like, okay, maybe I'm not cut out for this. Maybe I should just go back to corporate?
Oh yeah, a lot of times. And you probably have to ask this question to my husband because he has suffered a lot. But yeah, there have been scary moments. Even now, like I go through a lot of sleepless nights. You plan for something and things go wrong, and you go through such moments of self-doubt where you think that, is this right? Or in this kind of business, I do get a lot of flexibility in my life, because I'm my own boss, right? I can decide which hours to work, but you're never able to switch off that switch. Mm-hmm. So that is a different thing completely. Like I keep quoting this thing that, owning a business is like having your own baby, right? So this business is kind of like my own baby, right? So you never stop thinking about it, and you go through such moments where you think that, okay, is this right? Do I still want to continue doing this, or should I just make it simple, go back to job, do 9 to 5, come back home, not think about it at all? Mm-hmm. So, yeah, it happens.
Yep.
Again, like when you think about it, like, you have to think what is the ultimate goal. And that's where, relaxing spirituality and meditation brings it, kind of like the overwhelming feelings of fear and doubt, and, all these feelings get much better, and you're able to like, morning routine, a little bit of morning routine that I follow. I keep a gratitude list, right? So what I do is when I wake up in the morning, just 5 minutes, I just relax on my bed and think about 10 things that I'm grateful for today.
Nice.
And that just, it just starts my day on a very good note. And it gives me a mental space of seeing good in my world and really shifts my energy completely. So that thing has really helped me.
Nice. That is awesome. I think it's so important too, as an entrepreneur, to have something like that you can fall back on, and to kind of keep you positive, keep the fear from like caving in on you. That is awesome. So you mentioned, as you're talking, being able to be your own boss. I'd love to know, what do you now have the freedom to do that you couldn't do when you were in a 9-to-5 job?
Yeah, I mean, simple thing, like just yesterday, I decided that, I had to close my work at 3 p.m. for swimming. That on a Thursday afternoon, corporate job on a Thursday afternoon, it's not possible.
Mm-hmm.
So simple thing like that, like tons of example, like a lot of times I just go early and take my kids to a park, right? So exactly deciding like what I really want to do. So it comes with a lot of flexibility, and my kids are younger, so oftentimes when they get sick or when they get asked or beg for letting me stay.
Nice. Now, let's see, okay, this is kind of a two-sided question. So, and you've mentioned some pros and cons of both, but I'm curious, if you could name like one thing that you love the most about working for yourself, and one thing that you really don't like. Like, what do you like the least about being an entrepreneur?
For myself?
Yeah.
Okay. So one thing that I love the most is, again, like if I have to say in one word, is to be my own boss. Which can mean a lot in a deeper sense. I can explain that later. But something that I don't like about it is, I'm never able to switch off from there.
Mm-hmm.
I always have to worry about, not exactly worry, but I'm always curious and concerned about what's going on, and I always have to keep a tap on it. It's just like exactly when I said that this is my own child, right? So my business is, you never stop thinking about your children. So
yeah, yep. And I feel like you have kind of a lot of balls in the air between your children and your spouse and
right.
your two businesses that you're running right now. Do you have any productivity tips or any advice for anyone else that has a lot of balls in the air? How do you manage all of this?
So I'm very lucky that my husband is very supportive. So he's really good with kids, and we try to balance out in a way that divided our task completely. So that thing has worked pretty well, and I always try to work between 9 to 5. And I've made this a rule that I'm never gonna work until there's something totally wrong. But evening hours is mostly family time for us. So that way there's a good balance, and I never have to worry about that. So I guess kids had bring that balance in my life.
Nice. Yeah, that's good. Okay, so for anyone watching this that is still in their 9-to-5 job, they haven't quit, they're thinking about quitting, they're dreaming of that freedom lifestyle, is there any advice that you would give them as they're preparing to quit their job?
I'm sorry, I think your voice is breaking. Can you repeat that?
Yeah, is there any advice that you would give to someone thinking about quitting their 9-to-5 job to help them prepare?
Sure. So, yeah, I mean, there's something that I wanted to say, like, first of all, like I've learned this from my own experience that, we've been completely conditioned from our society and our education system that we always have to trade in time for dollars, right? Yes. So we always have to like spend so many hours to get this amount of money, right? And what I know and what most people, from what it might be true in some cases in conventional jobs, but there are different ways where you can actually create passive income, which means like, you can build something, an income source that you can build. Maybe you can spend like 3 months of your time in building that, and then from that source you will be getting paid regularly for the rest of your life. So, and for a lot of people, it's still some kind of like a dreamy fairy tale, right? But, and that's probably why a lot of people are not able to be financially free completely, and they always have to go to work to earn that kind of money, right? But what I would advise is a lot of people should actually try to research into different ways of creating passive income that will really make them financially free, and I focus on having multiple sources of income. That way, we don't put all the money into one basket, right? Yeah. So this is one of the very important things that I've learned.
Nice. Are there any resources, as someone is researching, how to create a passive income, any resources or experts that you would kind of direct them to?
Sure. So there are like tons and tons of information on YouTube, right? These days, like internet is like a gold mine of knowledge. Yeah. So pretty much anything that you learn, you can just try to learn it on YouTube. And I can buy courses. So, it's always good to invest on ourselves. Who have done this before. So yeah, I think that's it.
Nice. Okay. So before we kind of close out and wrap up, I want to ask you a few kind of lightning round questions. So these will just be quick. What is your favorite thing to do on a Saturday morning?
Just spending time with family over. So that's all I like to do. It's simple, just, or maybe just go out on a beach with family. That's pretty much.
Very nice. Okay, do you have a favorite book or podcast for entrepreneurs that you would recommend?
Oh yeah, my favorite book is 4-Hour Workweek.
Yes, I love that.
I don't know if it is like one of the best that I've read. And one of the podcasts that I really follow is the Second Mind podcast by Angie Gensler. It's like I really binge follow him.
Nice. I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, definitely.
Very cool. Okay, and then I'm curious, when you said you work typically 9 to 5, do you work from home or do you have an office? Where do you work at?
So I used to work from home before, but I've realized that it's important for me to get out of the home, right? Because I'm always in my pajamas then. I like to go out, meet people. So nowadays I work from WeWork. I don't know if you've heard of that, co-working space. So
very cool. Okay, awesome. Let's see. Okay, do you have an app or a software program that you absolutely could not run your business without?
MailChimp, mail these days is what I use for email.
Nice. Okay. And then is there a favorite quote or a mantra that you say every day and really keeps you kind of powered up and motivated?
So yeah, I've heard of this thing somewhere, and I really like this quote. It goes like something like, everything is created twice. And which says like first in the mind, everything is created twice. First in the mind and then in reality. So I really like that thing, and it's pretty good.
Wow, I love that. That's pretty cool. Okay, awesome. Well, that's really kind of all the questions I had. I just wanted to hear your story and share that inspiration with everyone watching. Before we close it out, I just want to give you a chance to kind of share with the audience, how can they connect with you? How can they learn more about you and your businesses?
Sure. So yeah, I mean, I'm on Facebook. If anyone wants to connect with me, I have an email address. It's joshi.vandita@gmail.com. You can probably write it down somewhere after this Facebook Live. And my website is thesnugglebees.com. That's my baby swaddle product that recently launched.
Nice. Awesome. And I'll put a link to that website in the comments. Sure. So anyone watching this after the fact, you can check out her website. And yeah, so thank you so much, Vandita, for joining me today and kind of opening up to this conversation and, and sharing your personal story and kind of that journey that you went through from the corporate job to the failed business to the wildly successful business and now your third venture. So, I wish you all the luck in this Snuggle Bees. So I hope you have just as much success with this as your other business.
Thank you so much. It's my pleasure to be here again.
Okay. We'll see you. Have a great day.